On the half shell, they're the heroes for. In this day and age, who could ask for more? The crime wave is high, with muggings mysterious. All police and detectives are furious, cause they can't find the source.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Misunderstood Movies, the show where I review movies that have for some reason or another have been branded as bad, but are actually pretty good if you look really closely at them. I'm your host, Alex Consalvos, aka Velociraptor4U. As you can see, I've got on a t-shirt featuring everyone's favorite heroes on a half shell, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Michelangelo, Raphael, Donatello, and Leonardo. Together with their mutant rat sensei Master Splinter, TV newswoman April O'Neil, and streetwise vigilante Casey Jones, the Turtles fight to protect New York City from such villains as the Shredder and his Foot Clan. Us Turtle fans and casual moviegoers alike are gonna get a brand new live-action Ninja Turtles reboot just on the horizon. So, to welcome this new film, I'm gonna take a look at one of the movies from the original live-action Ninja Turtles trilogy. They were from 1990 to 1993, but today I'm gonna take a look at this one right here, folks. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. Among hardcore Turtles fans, the third live-action movie is the one that's heavily despised. Why, you may ask? Well, that's what I'm about to explore. But first, let's delve into the early history of the Ninja Turtles leading up to this movie. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are the brainchild of comic book writers and artists Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman. The concept for the Turtles began when Kevin drew a comical sketch of a turtle in full ninja gear during a brainstorming session in 1983. It was a contradictory drawing, as turtles in real life are usually slow-moving animals, while human ninjas are lightning fast. It was Peter who suggested to Kevin that they create a fictional team of mutated turtles, each one specializing in a different ninja weapon. The pair also drew artistic inspiration from well-known comic book writers and artists Jack Kirby and Frank Miller. Eventually, Kevin and Peter formed their own comics company, Mirage Studios, using money from a loan from Kevin's uncle and from a tax refund. Once the company was formed, the pair published a one-issue comic book featuring their team of mutated Ninja Turtles. The comic was intended to be a parody of four comics that rose to popularity during the early 80s: Frank Miller's Ronin from DC, The New Mutants from Marvel, Cerebus by Dave Sim, and most notably, Marvel's Daredevil. Using the first two issues of their comic Gobbledygook, as well as in Comics Buyer's Guide, Kevin and Peter ran an ad for their Turtle Team comic, now titled Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The comic premiered at a comic book convention in Portsmouth, New Hampshire in 1984. During this time, there was a lot of interest from investors in comics produced by independent companies such as Mirage, and although initial sales of the comic numbered up to 3,275 copies, the new comic series became an instant collector's item and was soon selling at prices that were 50 times the prices on their covers. Now, the origins of the Ninja Turtles in those early issues actually begins in Japan with a ninja named Hamato Yoshi and his pet rat, Splinter. Yoshi was a high-ranking member of the ninjutsu clan known as the Foot Clan, which would much later become the primary reoccurring arch-enemies of Splinter and the Turtles. In the beginning, Splinter himself would copy and remember Yoshi's ninjutsu moves and skills while he practiced. Yoshi was romantically involved with a woman named Tang Shen, which aroused the jealousy of a fellow foot ninja named Oroku Nagi, who was also in love with Shen. Nagi beat Shen for rejecting him, and Yoshi murdered him soon afterwards in a fit of rage. but this action meant that he had dishonored the Foot Clan. But rather than face death for his actions, he chose to leave in exile. Yoshi traveled to the United States with Shen and Splinter, and for years, they all lived happily in New York City. But then, one day, Oroku Nagi's brother, Oroku Saki, arrived in the city. By this time, Saki had rose to the ranks of the Foot Clan, became the leader of the clan's American branch, and called himself the Shredder. In full Shredder gear, Saki killed both Yoshi and Shen, avenging his late brother's death. However, little Splinter escaped into the city sewers. There, he encountered 4 escaped turtle hatchlings and a smashed container that was full of radioactive ooze that had fallen into the sewers due to a traffic accident. The ooze mutated both Splinter and the turtles, and now, as an adult man-sized rat, Splinter took the young, growing mutated turtles under his wing. He raised them like his own sons, and extensively trained them in the art of ninjutsu, so that when they were teenagers, they would be ready to take on the evil Shredder and the Foot Clan, while secretly protecting New York from them as well as all kinds of nefarious foes. Splinter named the 4 turtle brothers each after a famous Renaissance artist from a book about them that he found in a storm drain. Leonardo, the calm and disciplined leader. Michelangelo, the carefree, catchphrase-coining jokester. Donatello, the science whiz. And Raphael, the rebel. The cult status that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comics achieved starting in 1984 soon led to the Turtles and their enemies and allies appearing in other media, starting with the widely popular original animated series that first premiered on CBS as a 5-part miniseries on December 14, 1987, before starting its official run on October 1, 1988. The show was born out of toy company Playmates Toys requesting a television deal with the Ninja Turtles property before they could start a Ninja Turtles-based toy line. After the initial miniseries became a huge hit, Playmates released their first Turtle action figure line in the summer of 1988, and the toy company and animated series worked together in both popularity and marketing for years afterward. The show also spawned other merchandise such as plush toys, breakfast cereal, and a comic series from Archie Comics that tied into the series. Despite slightly changing the origins of the main heroes, like Hamato Yoshi himself being Splinter, it was the show that helped launch the Ninja Turtles into the mainstream, and it introduced a whole host of notable allies, such as April O'Neil and Casey Jones, and enemies that included Bebop and Rocksteady, Krang, Leatherhead, and many more alongside Shredder and the Foot Clan. From 1988, the animated series lasted a whopping 10 seasons, finally coming to a close on November 2nd, 1996. During this time, 1990 was the year that the first live-action movie based on the Ninja Turtles was released into theaters. Hey dudes, this is no cartoon, and lean, green, and on the screen everywhere were the taglines. And the movie itself, for the most part, pleased the Ninja Turtle fanbase. Its story and tone was much closer to the original comics, while also incorporating some elements from the animated series, such as April O'Neil being a TV reporter instead of a computer programmer like she was in the comics. The first movie dealt with the origins of Splinter and the Turtles, their first meetings with April and Casey Jones, and their fight to save New York from a massive crime wave caused by Shredder and the Foot Clan.
What the heck was that?
Looked like sort of a big turtle in a trench coat.
The movie, despite mixed reviews from major film critics, became a box office success, grossing around $201 million worldwide.
I love being a turtle!
The film spawned a sequel in 1991 titled Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze. This movie picked up where the first film left off, with Shredder unexpectedly returning to reclaim control of the Foot Clan, and with a new plan to destroy his shelled foes. The sequel went more in-depth with the mysterious radioactive ooze that made Splinter and the Turtles what they are now. It also introduced two brand new mutant creatures to challenge the heroes, a mutated snapping turtle and wolf duo named Toka and Razar. There's also rapper Vanilla Ice freestyle rapping a song during one fight scene between the Turtles and the two new mutants in a club called Ninja Rap. Plus, Shredder drinks the last vial of ooze and becomes the monstrous Super Shredder, only to bring his own demise upon himself in a fit of mindless rage.
That's the end of the Shredder. Yeah.
This sequel toned down the violence from the first film to make it more comical for the target younger audience, something that the major critics didn't like. The Turtle fanbase, however, still couldn't really complain, and Secret of the Ooze became another box office success, grossing a total of $78 million. So while the first two movies were accepted by the fans, all of that changed when the third live-action movie came out. Yes, now it's time to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, which was released on March 17th, 1993.
It's just your ordinary, time travel equal mass displacement kind of thing. Kids.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3.
Help, I'm a turtle and I can't get up.
The movie begins in 1603 in feudal Japan. A young prince named Kenshin, played by Henry Hayashi, trying to escape 4 samurai on horseback, is instead captured by them and returned to his father, Lord Norinaga, played by Sab Shimono, who is planning for war. Norinaga is aided by a corrupt English arms trader named Walker, played by Stuart Wilson, and his sidekick Niles, played by John Aylward. Because Kenshin is against war, he calls his father's actions the true disgrace to their family name.
Jing, I forbid you to leave the castle. You have disgraced me.
It is you who have disgraced me, father, with your unjust war.
In a temple, Kenshin discovers a powerful, magical scepter with an inscription that reads that it has the power to
open wide the gates of time.
It turns out that there are not one, but 2 identical scepters. The second is in the 20th century. April O'Neil, played by Paige Turco, buys the second scepter from an antique store and brings it to the lair of the Ninja Turtles and Splinter as one of a number of gifts she brings them to cheer them all up while she is away on vacation. However, in both time periods, the scepters are accidentally activated, transporting Kenshin and April through time to the opposite time periods.
No way!
With April now accused of being a witch and imprisoned in 1603 Japan, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Raphael, and Donatello use the second scepter to travel back in time to rescue her. They have Casey Jones, played by Elias Koteas, stay in the lair to watch Splinter, Kenshin, and 4 of Norinaga's honor guards that were transported to the 20th century in the Turtles' stead. In feudal Japan, things get complicated when Michelangelo, who's carrying the first scepter, gets separated from the rest of his brothers and ends up in the village of Mitsu, played by Vivian Wu, a woman who is rebelling against Norinaga and Walker's forces and is the love interest of Kenshin. Meanwhile, at Norinaga's palace, the other turtles manage to rescue both April and a man named Wit, who has rebelled against Walker and is the ancestor of Casey Jones. April, Wit, and the turtles soon meet up with Mitsu and her rebel forces, are reunited with Mikey, and they save Mitsu's village from certain destruction at the hands of Walker. The first scepter is soon found. It was hidden beneath one of the village huts by a boy named Yoshi, played by Travis A. Moon, whose life was previously saved by Leo and Mikey. But unfortunately, the scepter is stolen by Wit, who seemingly betrays April and the turtles and captures Mitsu, taking her and the scepter back to Norinaga and Walker. Now, with time running out until they must return to the present, and with Mitsu's village once again in danger, the four shelled brothers and April take the fight to Norinaga. In a climactic, lengthy battle, April and the turtles join a rescued Mitsu and the rebels in defeating Norinaga and his forces, while Wit shows his true colors as a hero and aids the turtles in defeating the evil Walker, causing him to fall to his death.
Wow. Bungee jumping without a bungee. That could be dangerous.
But when it comes time to get back to the present, however, Mikey feels that he would rather stay in the past, having grown fond of Mitsu.
Kenshin must return. You promised.
Yeah, but,
Our two families must be united, or the wars will start again.
but I thought... I want to stay here. With you.
You will always be here with me, Michelangelo.
But at the last minute, he reluctantly joins his brothers and April in returning to the present, while Kenshin and the honor guards return to feudal Japan, where Kenshin and Mitsu are romantically reunited. Back in the present, Splinter does a funny Elvis impersonation to cheer up Mikey.
Yo, dude. Huh? Yo, dude. Just like Elvis in Blue Hawaii. Uh-huh. I saw it on cable. Oh, hey, Mikey!
Feeling happy once again, Mikey joins Leo, Raph, and Donnie in a final brotherly dance number. And that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, folks. This sequel turned out to be another financial success, grossing a total of around $42 million. I wish I could say the same about the critical reception, though. James Rolfe, aka the Angry Video Game Nerd, is a big-time Turtles fan. The following clip will show you exactly how he and every other faithful Turtle fan out there felt about Ninja Turtles 3.
It's hammer time!
Ah, nerd. But yes, as you can see, not only was this movie a failure in the eyes of major movie critics, but to the Ninja Turtles fanbase as well. So what is it about Ninja Turtles 3 that makes it so hated? Well, from what I've researched, one reason why the fans loathe this film is that it didn't feature any new recognizable Ninja Turtle villains. and I do see why they would be disappointed with this movie as far as that goes. Between the comics, the animated series, and the Turtles video games, there was a rogues gallery for the Turtles consisting of villains that had become very popular among faithful fans right alongside Shredder and the Foot Clan. Villains such as Baxter Stockman, the Rat King, Slash, Karai, Bebop and Rocksteady, and especially Krang. Also, these same fans were at first very attached to the previous Turtles media and had come to accept the first two films because they had featured the Turtles fighting against a popular, recognizable villain and his organization. The first two films were live-action representations of what fans had come to love from mainly the comics and the cartoon series. And they were expecting the same thing with Ninja Turtles 3. Now, while I truly understand that, the thing is, though, that if you're making a movie set in a certain time period, such as feudal Japan during the early 1600s in this case, you have to keep the story and characters accurate with the time period. It would be extremely out of place in the movie if suddenly, for example, Krang in the Technodrome appeared out of the blue with no explanation. Sure, April and the Turtles are the only characters that are out of place in 1603, but that's mainly the time travel aspect right there. But the new allies and villains that they meet, plus the events that were going on during that time in Japanese history, had to be accurate to that time period. Because I can understand that, that's why both Norinaga and Walker work for me personally as the villains here. Out of both of them, I think I like Walker a little more. Stuart Wilson gives the character this really convincing, sinister demeanor, backed up by that sly British accent.
Yes, I'd say that was a fair assumption. Survived the shipwreck, built some new ones, and well, here I am, hungry again.
Walker's sidekick, Niles, also works for me as the bumbling, incompetent fool that's counterpoint to Walker's usual seriousness. Because of that, Niles adds extra comic relief that's even more so when he becomes the butt of a reoccurring Wet Willy joke by the Turtles.
It's Wet Willy time!
By the way, that brings us to another point about this movie that didn't sit well with critics and fans. The humor.
It's hammer time!
From what I've researched, people say that the movie's humor is overly cartoonish, childish, and stupid. That's understandable, seeing as the target audience at the time of the film's release were mainly kids. But that, I feel, is what people who hate this movie don't understand. It's that the humor was specifically written in a way in which it appealed to kids and was easily understandable to them. If you can understand this cartoonish style of humor, like me, then you'll most likely laugh along as you watch this film as well. But if that's the kind of humor that you don't like, and if you dislike lines such as...
Hey, Kappa!
Kappa? Cappuccino? That makes me hyper.
And...
Hey, you were expecting maybe, the Addams Family?
or...
We're turtles, friend. The Teenage Mutant Ninja variety. Sleazeball. Yeah.
and especially...
Help, I'm a turtle and I can't get up.
then most likely you won't be laughing. It all boils down to what you personally find funny. And keep in mind that all three Turtles movies and the original animated series were specifically written to have heavy doses of humor alongside the equally significant moments of drama and action. All four pieces of media, therefore, fit into the action-comedy genre of film and television. To me, Ninja Turtles 3 doesn't have too much humor to make it unbearable. It has just the right amount mixed in with the moments of true drama. And speaking of drama, remember the little village kid Yoshi? Well, a truly very tense, dramatic moment in the film that I do love is the scene where Mikey saves Yoshi from a burning hut. Then, when the kid isn't showing signs of life, Leo frantically gives Yoshi CPR in order to revive him. You are on the edge of your seat during the scene because this is an innocent little kid we're talking about here. No one wants an innocent kid to die in a movie. Thankfully, Leo's efforts are successful, and the ever-grateful Yoshi comes to love his rescuers and even forms a brief friendship with the usually sullen Raphael. Plus, another thing in Ninja Turtles 3 that adds to the humor aspect is culture shock. Prince Kenshin, Norinaga's 4 honor guards, April, and the Turtles are in time periods that they're all each unfamiliar with, and understandably, they all have to learn to adjust and adapt to the cultures and customs. Now, one minor flaw in this movie occurs during Walker's death scene. Watch closely for when Walker hits the water below. If you caught that, you saw that when Walker hit the water, there was no visible splash. He sort of instantly disappeared into the sea. Why does this editing flub exist in the movie? How come they couldn't do a special effect for a splash? Who knows. But for me, that's something minor that I can easily overlook. And while I do wish that both Splinter and Casey could have had bigger roles here, the small parts that they do play are significant enough to the story, so I really can't complain there either. There are other things that I like about Ninja Turtles 3, starting with the fight choreography. All of the live-action movies feature very top-notch martial arts action, especially from the actors in the turtle suits, and the third movie is no exception. Now about the suits themselves in this film. Sure, Jim Henson's Creature Shop didn't build them, but the suits in Turtles 3, I think, are built and look very well. The animatronic heads are also pulled off well, and are capable of quite a range of facial expressions and showing emotions, just like their Jim Henson predecessors. Also, from the Turtles and Splinter to April and Casey, all of the main and supporting characters still have their trademark personalities that fans have come to expect from the Ninja Turtles franchise. One last thing that I like about this movie is the time travel plot device. In other movies that involve time travel, sometimes the time travel aspect is written in a way in which it's quite complicated for the viewer to understand. That's not the case here. The fact that whenever the two scepters in separate time periods are activated, the people who activated them switching times with each other does make sense to me, and is easy to understand and follow along. Now, after this movie ended its theatrical run and came out on VHS, a live-action Ninja Turtles TV series called Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation came along. It aired on the Fox Kids block from 1997 to 1998. Something quite notable about this series is that it introduced a female Ninja Turtle called Venus de Milo, a character that's actually hated by Turtles co-creator Peter Laird. When this series ended its run in 1998, a brand new animated series aired in 2003, first again on Fox Kids, and then migrating over to the CW4 Kids block for its 7th and final season in 2009. During this show's run, Turtle fans and casual moviegoers alike were treated to a fully CG animated feature film on March 23, 2007, simply called TMNT. A sort of follow-up to the original live-action trilogy, TMNT takes place years after the Turtles' final defeat of Shredder, and they have each drifted apart. However, a new threat to New York involving a wealthy businessman, a trans-dimensional portal, and 13 monsters causes our favorite pizza-loving shelled heroes to reform again together with Splinter, April, and Casey. Here, the Turtles and their allies once again have to contend with the Foot Clan, this time led by Karai, the fierce female successor to Shredder. What I like about this particular film is how it explores the personal relationships between the four turtles, and how they gradually have to overcome their personal differences and come together again as brothers. TMNT was a box office success, and despite not getting a lot of positive praise from film critics, it did manage to gain appreciation from the turtle fans.
Did anyone get the license plate of that thing that hit us last night? It looked like your mom, dude.
Yeah, that would make her your mom too, doofus.
Nut.
2012 saw the birth of yet another new Ninja Turtles TV series. This one, though, is entirely CGI and is still going strong on Nickelodeon today. Now, this August, audiences everywhere will be getting a brand new live-action movie reboot of The Heroes on a Half Shell. The new film's director is Jonathan Liebesman, the man behind Battle Los Angeles and Wrath of the Titans. Its producer is Michael Bay, best known nowadays as the man behind the live-action Transformers film series. Personally, I'm looking forward to seeing this movie. This looks like it's aiming to introduce the Turtles franchise to a new generation of fans, while still having recognizable touches to it for the veteran fans. And I really don't mind the fact that the Turtles were designed with humanoid facial features, and that Megan Fox is going to be the new April O'Neil, because so far, from what I've seen in the trailers, this movie looks like all the pieces will work well together. And Jonathan Liebesman has previously stated that the film will not just focus on action, but it will have a strong story about responsibility, friendship, and especially brotherhood. And besides, the trailers and TV spots released thus far, including one from Pizza Hut, shows that the Turtles are still going to have their trademark personalities, weapons, and their love for pizza. Plus, look at Shredder. He looks flippin' awesome already.
Shredder.
So in short, the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reboot looks very promising. And all I can say for now is that Turtle Power is back.
No, whoa, chill. It's just a mask. See? Don't freak out. Right?
Well, this has been another episode of Misunderstood Movies. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and until next time, this is Alex Consalvos, aka Velociraptor4U, signing off.
On the half shell, they're the heroes for. In this day and age, who could ask for more? The crime wave is high, with muggings mysterious. All police and detectives are furious, cause they can't find the source of this lethally evil force. This is serious, so give me a quarter. I was a witness, get me a reporter. Call April O'Neil in on this case. Hey, you better hurry up, there's no time to waste. We need help like quick on the double. Have pity on the city, man, it's in trouble. We need heroes like the Lone Ranger. When Tonto came pronto, when there was danger. They didn't say we'd be there in half an hour, cause they displayed turtle power. Reporter was hot on the trail, determined to put these crooks in jail. She spied the bad guys and saw what happened, but before she knew it, she fell in a trap and got caught. Yeah, she was all alone, with no friends and no phone. Now this was beyond her worst dreams, cause she was cornered by some wayward teens. Headed by Shredder, they were anything but good. Misguided, unloved, they called them the Foot. They could terrorize and be angry youth, and they'd mug the people who needed proof. Then from out of the dark came an awesome sound, shouting cowabunga as they hit the ground.